Thanks for choosing this free Anfield Index podcast. If you'd prefer to listen to this or any of our other shows without adverts, then now's the time to check out Anfield Index Pro. With AI Pro, you can supercharge your entire listening experience. You'll not only get all of our podcasts without the ads, but you'll have them far faster with our quick publish feature available exclusively for subscribers. AI Pro also puts you in the heart of our sound studio, with an option to listen to many of our shows live and interact with the podcasters in real time as the shows are recording. Upgrading couldn't be easier. AI Pro is available on all popular podcast platforms, and we have our own apps for Apple and Android. Just head on over to AnfieldIndexPro.com and get started today.
Hello and welcome to the Anfield Index Podcast. It's episode 747 and I am Trev Downey, speaking to you from my field here in beautiful rural Ireland, where I am podcasting again for the first time in a week. I want to make my apologies to all my Anfield Index overlords. It's been a week and I will make up for it this week. Please, Eddie, don't fire me. That's how I want to begin, in that obsequious, sycophantic fashion. And I have nothing by way of joy and jollity to cheer you up, because I'm in pain. I'm in deep, deep pain. Week 4 of personal training adventure completed on Friday, and my calves, oh God, my calves. That's literally all I have to say. It's like I'd never actually tried to exercise them before, which is weird. And calf stretches and calf raises are very, very cruel men. You add that to deadlifts and squats, and I am walking around on magical legs of pain. I feel like I probably look like a thunderbird. Do you remember how thunderbirds used to look, and how they used to walk kind of jerkily, moving their knees forward?
Knees high, yeah.
Knees high. That's every time I try to plant my foot, either my arse muscles or my quads or my fucking calf muscles are saying, fuck you. You are not putting this down on the ground and you're not putting any pressure on it. So it jerks back up. And I'm walking around like a human Thunderbird for the last 2 days.
At least you live in a single-story house.
I mean,
if you had to go up and down stairs, I've been there and I've done that, and it's excruciating.
Yeah, I am grateful for that small mercy, but unfortunately, because it's been a week of funerals and family occasions and all sorts of things, I've hardly been home. So it's basically been in all these buildings with stairs and lifts, so I haven't felt the benefit, alas, of my lovely bungalow bliss. But I am leaning into it this evening, and that's quite enough jaw aching from me. I want to introduce my esteemed colleagues of lethal cunning. Hats off to Chris for that. My friends Lisa Marie Hanahan, Guy Drinkel, and Karl Coppack are here for your delectation tonight. We've got a full house, and the reason they're all here is because young Coppack made the journey to a different locale, primarily and solely to record this show. So we do appreciate that effort on his part. And we are going to kick it off by getting a little intro or hello from everybody as usual, before we go into what will be a footy related show. But do forgive us, it's International Week and we don't like to talk the same guff that you hear on other shows. So there'll be a lot of non-footy stuff as well. If that's not your bag, we'll see you next week. All the best now. Lisa Marie Hanahan, how have you been this week? And do you have anything to open the show with?
It's been a busy week, but I am happy once again to join you on episode 341 of the Anfield Index Podcast. Just a little correction there for you, Trev.
I was close.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah, I was close.
No, it's been busy. I feel like the family is going in 95 different directions at all times right now. But that's what happens, I suppose, when you have sons working and daughters taking 9,000 dance classes a week, and all the other fun family life things that we have going on here now. But you know what? it's good that they're out and about, and for that I am grateful.
You know, can I just kind of cut in here, because
Absolutely.
I have something to share that of the present company only yourself can relate to, and you can't fully relate to it yet either, because you're not as quite as decrepit as I am. We had a situation during the week, Lisa Marie, where a fella who had been away from my working environment for 15 or 16 years came back and started talking to me about his kids. And he looked at me and said, "Your kid must be getting on a bit now." And I said, 24, mate. My kid is 24. And I swear to God, he looked at me like he could not believe what reality and dimension he was in. And all he could say to me was, "Fucking hell, lad, you're old." Yeah. I went, yeah, that's not really what I was hoping for. What I was hoping for was, "Man, you don't look at all like you could have a 24-year-old son. Fair play to you." But no, just looked at me in just horror. He was feeling sorry for himself, Lisa Marie. He was disgusted that he knew someone who he considered to be a peer who could have a child so old. That's basically what it was. So yeah, look forward to that one.
Absolutely can't wait.
Yeah. Did you have a specific thought?
Well, we were at a gathering last night with friends, and these friends of ours have got children in varying ages of life, and this one couple we're friends with who are younger than us, but did wait a little longer to start their family. They have a daughter that's 3 years old, and all I have to say is 10 years from now, when she is 13, I am going to be sitting back and laughing hysterically, because she is already just this child, this little girl is just, she is something else. And when she hits that 13-year-old age, which, I am currently living through with my own daughter, I am going to be just sitting on the sidelines laughing with, popcorn and a beverage, and just, it's going to be class entertainment is all I have to say.
Well, that's the way to do it, because that is the one upside of the fact that I am, as my colleague pointed out, fucking Jurassic, is that I have been able to enjoy for quite a number of years now, 6, 7, 8, 9 years. I've had a child who's mature enough that I don't have to worry about, and so it's been marvelous watching all my peers chasing around, getting their lovely jeans scuffed in the mud, and so I'm delighted for them. So that's good. That's good. I'm delighted to hear things are going comparatively well for you. Then we'll no doubt return to all things domestic at some point in the show. Guy Drinkel has also joined us this evening. Guy, unlike me, you have not been slouching. I've been listening to your work during the week, my friend. Pumping out the content as per usual. And I did hear your little sideways dig at how nobody wants to do anything apart from you. It's duly noted. I want you to know that I do feel your pain. And next week I will endeavour to be far more present and take a little bit of the burden off your Anfield Index Swiss Army knife status. How are things with you?
I have a 6-year-old dog, so yeah, I'm going through the same issues.
Yeah. We should point out that I have to say that, unlike with Hendrik, we never hear your dog making guest appearances on the podcast. I can only assume that's because you have a far better trained pooch who stays in the background and doesn't feel the need to come in and share emotions. Is that what's going on?
It does help. He sleeps 28 hours a day, so that probably helps.
Yes.
Yeah. So that does help.
Yeah. What have you got to start the show with today?
I'll ask you a question, Trev. What's your favourite film trilogy?
Oh, shit. Okay. Look, do you know what? Even though the third one has a lot of flaws, I can't look past The Godfather. I can't. And the third one has a lot of flaws.
I thought you were going to say Blade there.
Oh, have I ruined it by not saying?
No. I'll ruin The Godfather for you in a minute. Don't worry. I'll replace The Godfather. Carl, what's yours? Because I think you'll take this more seriously.
I think it probably is The Godfather.
Yeah.
What's going to be? I wouldn't say Star Wars because Return of the Jedi is awful.
Lord of the Rings is probably mine.
elves. I can't get on with elves.
There was far too much face touching small people at the end of it. Was a whole half hour of sad little men at the end of that last one. That upset me greatly. But there was some highlights in that trilogy.
The whole Sam's not gay thing as well.
Yeah, well, there you go. Controversy.
Not gay. Look, he's got a wife.
Exactly.
They were actually screaming that out. He doesn't fancy Frodo.
Not at all. Not at all.
Lisa Marie, do you have a favourite trilogy?
I probably would have to go Star Wars.
Yeah.
So.
Would you all like a new one?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
More than anything.
Yeah, so I've been introduced to a Sharktapus trilogy of films.
Oh, fucking hell. Sharktapus.
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 So this is basically like Godzilla. So he starts off as the enemy, but he soon becomes a hero because Sharktapus free. Excuse me, let me just put in some pictures for you in the chat.
Please do.
Just to show you what we're dealing with in terms of film posters here.
Oh my God, that is beautiful.
Yeah. So we have the second film is called Sharktapus vs. Pteracuda, which is a pterodactyl.
Oh, Pteracuda.
It's a pterodactyl crossed with a barracuda, of course. And the third one is Sharktapus vs. Whalewolf.
All right, yeah.
Yeah, and the first one's obviously just Sharktapus, because you need an origin story for these sort of heroes.
Yeah.
Does Sharktapus appear to have exposed ribs? Or what the hell are those things coming out of Sharktapus, who's at the top of that Sharktapus versus Pteracuda poster?
I love the reference.
Are they like?
I believe they're gills with spikes on.
They're fancy spiky gills.
Yes.
Ah, okay, that would make sense. And why is that girl bathing in such a relaxed fashion between two such beasts? I don't understand it.
Well, have you ever seen Jaws? You need some filmography. You need some cinematography.
You do, of course. You do, of course. What is a poster without a bikini?
That's not the same word that I would use, but okay, sure.
yeah, that is absolutely magnificent. So there's three of them: Sharktapus versus Pteracuda, Sharktapus versus Werewolf, and the first one's just called Sharktapus.
Just Sharktapus. Just
the
being
classic.
alone. Yeah.
Where it all began.
Yeah.
Oh, hang on! It's a Roger Corman movie.
Oh, right, okay.
Yes.
Oh, look, it's inspired by true events.
Of course it is. Of course it is, because Roger just happened to see a fucking Pteracuda passing by and wondered what it would be like if it was to fight a Sharktapus. My God, inspired by true events. This is amazing. For those of you who don't know, look up Roger Corman's 1960s and 70s output featuring Jack Nicholson, actually.
Yeah.
Back in the day. He was, quite a producer of content. Oh my God. Has anyone seen the tagline of Sharktapus versus Pteracuda?
A love story.
A love story.
Yeah.
Oh man, you've brought the goods today, sir. I can't.
I mean, Guy, just when we think you can't top yourself, you do. It's amazing. It's honestly a gift.
It does. I think The Godfather and Lord of the Rings are clearly in the bin in that regard now. But
oh, listen, I've totally written it off. I've written it off. What
is this why Coppola called it a day?
Of course it is.
Yeah,
of course it is. He turns out Godfather 3. This guy turns out Sharktapus versus Werewolf. I mean, fucking hell. In the bin, Francis. Tremendous stuff. Again, you've outdone yourself, sir. Fair play to you. Karl, I mean, how do we follow this?
Well, yesterday I ran the Norfolk Coastal Half Marathon. And we were told before, which suggests to me that it was a trail run. Sorry, the Norfolk Coastal Trail Half Marathon. That would suggest a trail run of maybe woodland, some gravel paths, etc. 2 miles in, so quite fresh. We encountered my girlfriend tonight encountered sand dunes, which are both up and down with loose sand all over them. And my headphones stopped working at that point as well. And apparently, Fee was slightly ahead of me, and she just reminded me before that I was pointing at the sun and shouting, "What is this?" at the top of my voice. What is this nonsense? I asked. We should have been told about the sand. I shouted that. These things are effing useless as well to the headphones. That didn't work. And she said both her and the people behind me were doing their best not to laugh while I had a full meltdown. I was pretty much like Andy Dufresne at the end of the Shawshank Redemption on my knees, screaming at sand at that point.
Pure Anakin Skywalker.
Pure, yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was melting slowly in the whatever that fire cave thing was. Yeah, that was a low point, I think, over the weekend. The second low point is I can match you when it comes to the old Doms. The old Doms is visited with severity, I would say.
Where is the worst? What's the worst?
I'd say the hips, actually. I really feel the hips.
Nice.
I can't stand up without a noise at any point. And I still think that'll be there tomorrow as well. And,
yes. Oh, yes.
I don't want to
second days is the worst.
Yeah. I don't want to slag the runoff because the volunteers are quite tricky, blah, blah, blah. But God, that was an awful race. It really was. And the other news of the week is the reason I've had to travel maybe 0.4 of a mile to get here is because of a broadband company who, of course, I won't name because we believe in balance here on AIP, but they're named after somebody who has never had sexual relations before. You bastards. You bastards.
They have dropped the ball quite spectacularly, it has to be said.
I mean, it's, wow. UEFA-esque, honestly.
Nice sideways reference to...
I host my own podcast, Trev, you noticed?
Yeah, I have noticed that. I have noticed how you host most podcasts you're on, where if you're not happy with the way the conversation is going,
I can tell you, I've told you this before on my podcast of a mutual friend of ours who hosts a lot of podcasts who started wrapping mine up while I was interviewing him. That was an interesting moment.
I know. I did that in Pooley once as well. I don't know. You feel like such an asshole, but what
you done the Def Leppard pod?
I've done the Def Leppard pod.
No, I was trying to get because I introduced him to Paul Burns.
Yes, yeah.
I was trying to get Burnsy to get me on to talk about the Ramones. He's trying to find a way to get Doctor Who involved, but I think I'd like to do that show as well.
Jesus Christ, that's quite the crossover you've planned there.
It really is.
By the way, can we just also mention, as I've been listening to and enjoying the crack with yourself, I couldn't help but notice, just to add further joy to Guy's Sharktapus trilogy, the first one actually stars Casper Van Dien of Starship Troopers fame and Catherine Oxenberg. And I noticed the cast for the second one, the Pteracuda one, has Robert Carradine, who I think is the brother of Keith, and frickin' Conan O'Brien. What's that about?
Because he probably wrote part of it. Conan O'Brien wrote a lot of stuff, doesn't he?
So these just literally.
David Carradine is Kung Fu.
David Carradine's Kung Fu. I think Robert Carradine's his brother. So, or maybe that's Keith Carradine.
And Kill Bill, the Kill Bill films as well.
Yep. So these Guy Drinkel, sir. I doff my cap. Right. I have several topics that I want to get through today, and I'm going to start with the Liverpool related ones so that people don't feel a total swizz when they tune into Anfield Index for the first time and they've already sort of lost all train of what this is as a show. And I'd asked two specific Reds related questions. First one was, who's your least favorite Red during your time supporting them? You'll note, Lisa Marie, that all my questions are inclusive. And
you're so kind.
Question,
you're just
I know,
so thoughtful.
I know, it's incredible. I amaze myself. The second question is, who is your low-key Reds hero in your time? I need you to take that phrase low-key seriously. I am not looking for a Mo Salah answer here or Jurgen Klopp answer here. I'm looking for something a little bit more nuanced. Fucking Kenny. Yes, exactly. That is not what I'm looking for. We need nuance here. So I'm going to leave that one for you to mull over, because that's probably the most tricky one. And those of you who did not do your homework, and I do resent when you make me feel like I'm having a busman's holiday and I'm school teacher. But if you did not do your homework and prepare, then at least now you can be thinking about that. However, we are going to lead off with who is your least favorite red during your time. And because you're on a roll here, young Karl, and because I am 100% sure of who you're going to pick, can we start with you?
It was his birthday yesterday, so I'm actually not going to go for the obvious Norwegian. I'm going to go for Neil Ruddock.
Oh, you fucking gazumped me, lad.
All right, okay. In that case, I'll go for... I mean, I could go for Juve. Let's go for John Arnold Rieser then.
And do you care to qualify, or shall we just let that one sit? Because for many people, all they'll remember is a ginger power horse. Power horse?
Let's go with that. Yeah, that's fine. What are those power horses?
A powerhouse.
Yeah, I know
quite a lot of.
You're thinking of goals against Man United, aren't you? You think he'd give the glory of his nipples in his first season when he would.
Lots of people are.
And so, I've said this before on the show, but for the obvious reasons, I loved him in his first season. I really did. I wanted to start a fanzine called Reese's Nipples, because they were always nice to be seen, because it means he'd scored. He scored some great goals for Liverpool, Everton, obviously the United goal, and great through balls. One for Gerrard, remember, at I'm going to see the way around. Sorry. Anyway, there's some lovely through balls. Scored a great goal in the Charity Shield against Chelsea. Once scored a great goal against West Brom. Great.
The Barcelona goals with Bellamy.
Yeah.
Who seemed to like him as much as you do.
Absolutely. Yeah. I texted Craig, and it's just the I don't think he's a very nice person for a start, Evan. I've heard that from some pretty strong people high up, and I've had a run in with him myself, and it's just the fact that he couldn't resist having a welly from 30 yards every single time he got the ball. And I know Istanbul, I know that cross for Gerrard's first goal, that got everything going. I am not disputing that. But I just got sick to death of having runners free from him all the time and him just battering it over the bar all the time. And he's a man who's not ashamed of his own confidence. And I've never... But he was glorious in that first season, I'm not going to argue otherwise, but...
A lot of people on the back of that campaign, and maybe one or two other highlights I've seen recently, include him in all-time 11s, which is quite notable. Not
even the best left back in the Barcelona team. Sorry, in the Istanbul team.
Yeah, did pick that out though. I have to say, I didn't notice that. And other people picking out Fab Aurelio as the best left back of all time. I mean, a season, lads, come on. So I don't know. People do get carried away. The other two choices you picked, Juve and Ruddock, I could go on for days. But
there's not much in them.
There's nothing there by way of things to admire when it comes to El Hadji Diouf for me. I did think there was a bit of endeavour in his first season, but he turned out to be quite a spiteful character, and he did like a spit, which always Leicester's.
More than once. He is the worst.
Whereas for me, the most frustrating individual, and again, I'm going to invoke the name of Eddie Gibbs. When we were looking at interview candidates, I've said this in the show before, I just couldn't bring myself to interview Neil Ruddock. I just couldn't do it. I couldn't do it because I associate him with that time where, right or wrong, I felt there was a league in that mid-90s Liverpool. And he is the epitome of the underachievement for me. Whether that's fair or unfair, I don't care. It's just a personally held opinion. So that's myself.
I'd say the instigator of a culture.
And it's notable. It's probably notable how quickly the changes happened when they did, in terms of personnel and management. That's myself and Karl having our little rant about least favorite Reds of our era. I'm leaving you to last, Marie, because it's going to be the most relevant one for people who are listening, because it's going to be a person from the last couple of years. So that's going to be interesting. What about Guy Drinkel, who goes back a bit further? Yeah, obviously it's going to be Navigator. What do you reckon, Guy? The least favourite Red of your era?
I think Lovren's an easy one. But
yeah.
Dave covers that, so I'll leave that one. I don't hate him, but I have a dislike for Adam Lallana.
Right.
Yeah. But I'd probably go Martin Skirtle, you know. The backpedaling just horrifies me to this day.
I get this more than you'll know. By the end of his time there, I couldn't spur him away quick enough. There was a liability waiting to happen. I agree. Is that what you associate him with, that kind of absolutely chaotic era where we looked like we were emerging and then we just concede 3 goals, that kind of thing? Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. I mean, the 13-14 season, everyone wanked over him, and he scored
7 goals.
Scored 7 goals, but then he conceded 5 own goals and was at fault for about 70 other goals. So
I think there's worse in that team than him.
Yeah.
Victor Moses?
Yeah, but he was only here for a year, and who gives a toss?
Yeah, poor Victor didn't play. Whereas I have to say that he was an ongoing source of anxiety for me with Skirtle. I do agree, and of course
Lucas either as well. But he's
you see, I don't know why. I always liked Lucas, even though I know people were really frustrated by his ability.
I think I liked him because everyone else didn't, and also used to like my tweets, so that's fine.
I think it's more the fact that he obviously people started to like him when he was probably our better midfield, but we were finishing 12th, or it felt like 12th. Is that?
8th.
Yeah. It might as well be 12th.
I think he did a really good. He did a really good spell. He had a really good spell where he came back into the team when we were doing quite well.
Yeah,
and he had a good spell again under
a
Kenny.
Liverpool legend.
Well, that's the Kenny era you're talking about, and the Hodgson era. That was dark. But then he did come back into the team under Rodgers and have a decent spell in that 13-14 season. I have to say, I really liked him that year for all that he did. But I think an awful lot of people just had their minds made up. And I get it. I do get it. And he'd fall away again in terms of form after that. I think that's a fairly. There's nobody else you want to throw into the mix there. Are we happy enough with that?
Just to go on Lallana a bit more because it'll annoy Karl. It's just
lovely man, lovely man.
No, he seems like sound, but it's just the way he's viewed. 25 mil when we bought him, loads of money. Was pretty crap under Rodgers, as was everyone, to be fair. So I can't blame him solely for that. Klopp. Again, I'm one of those good form. He did, but Klopp loves everyone apart from Mamadou Sakho and Naby Keita.
Yeah, that's true.
Just 4 months of good, and then again, just nothingness for 4 odd years, getting paid a massive wage to do now, and everyone looks at him quite positively. It's just,
Did you see the collection of clips of Adam Lallana's Liverpool highlights that was floating around Twitter during the week?
I did. It's he's basically that lad at five-a-side who thinks he would be if he went to real life. Which reminds me of that five-a-side player who's the best, but you can't do anything other than turn or skin someone.
Well, did you notice that just after most of those super turns away from people, that he falls over then, and that's the end of the clip. I couldn't help but notice that. These are highlights, and it shows him beating a guy really well, and a lovely touch, and maybe a Cruyff turn or a lovely little bit of a feint or something like that. And the clip will end as he's going over because someone's just muscle him off the ball. So obviously there were some great goals in there, don't get me wrong. And look, the lad had ridiculous ability, but I think he's in that frustrating category.
He's more a pet peeve than someone I hate. He's not. I'm not putting him in the same category as El Hadji Diouf, obviously, but pet peeve.
This is a good list. I'm liking this so far. And Lisa Marie, to finish us off, in your era supporting the Reds, your least favourite. And this doesn't mean, again, we're not saying it. It doesn't have to be someone you hate. Just because me and Karl happen to have particular antipathy towards the people that we picked, you don't. It doesn't have to be hate. Yes, yeah, we are embittered older gentlemen. So feel free to just say you're not awfully fond of someone.
Well, Guy stole mine. I was going to say Lovren. All right. I had Lovren picked. Not for any specific reason, just he annoys me, continues to kind of annoy me anytime I see him pop up on Twitter or whatever. So that was my primary one. Really, I can't think of anybody else there's no one that I hate. And nobody else per se that I can think of right now that annoys me much, but maybe that's just because I've kind of stepped away from everything for the last couple of weeks, and it all just looks better.
Yeah, that can happen. I'm trying to look.
If we had picked this like after the Napoli game, I would have had about 11 or 12 names I could have given you. But
Yeah, absolutely. I will. Guy Drinkel would have just said, spent the show going, fucking Trent.
Lazy bastard.
I know. I know that for a fact. I have a second.
Trent, let him go past you again. That's good. No, don't bother running behind him. That's fine.
Yeah. Well, we'll see how it pans out. Now let's spin it around to your low key Reds hero. Now I'll start the ball rolling here because I love a hard luck story, or I love I've noticed that I'm quite fond of movies that have vengeance at their core. I don't know what that says about me, but I do like that. I love a bit of vindication or justice or something, and because I was part of the crew who were looking askance at John Achterberg, and not ever vocal because I didn't know enough about it to comment. But I did find it piqued my curiosity that our goalies were just not what you'd want. And Pepe Reina had started to decline, and then we had Miggs in, and I don't know. There was a lot of, what are we doing when it comes to goalkeeper coaching questions coming from lads who usually had Fabulous Firmino 799 or something like that in their Twitter handle, or blank eggheads in their bio. But it was a topic of conversation, and I felt at the time it was unfair, and yet I wondered if it had any merit. And then all of a sudden, John Achterberg gets to work with somebody of the caliber of Allison. And Allison is saying to anyone who listens that John Achterberg is a fantastic coach who does fantastic work with them and keeps them at the top of their game. And now we have a posse of some of the best goalkeepers in the game. The young kids that we've brought in, the youngsters that we've got at various levels, some of whom are farmed out, are just wonderful. Queeve Kelleher is tremendous. And I'm just delighted for Achterberg. Delighted for him. I love seeing him there on the bench in his shorts. He's one of those lads. He's always wearing shorts. And I do like that. So for me, it's a weird one, I know. But I'm just buzzing for John Achterberg. I think it's fantastic. And he seems to be a good lad as well. Which does help. So that's mine. Karl, you're a low-key Liverpool hero of the 4-ish decades you've been supporting. Maybe it's a bit more than 9 and 1.
I think Dejan Lovren was pretty good.
Come on.
No, always a big fan of Craig Johnson. Always. And that sounds really harsh because he won a treble in 1984 and scored in an FA Cup final. To say he was low key, but I just really, really liked him because he just said this fantastic sentence. He said he was the worst player in the best team in the world and had to fight every week to play and to be in that team. And I've met him. He's a very nice man as well. He had tremendous hair. Looked great in that kit. And just a really big fan of Skippy. I just thought really liked him. I also like the fact that he's known as Skippy and he's born in Johannesburg. I quite like that.
Yeah, that's fantastic. And he did invent predators.
He did, and I met him while he was doing that. He was just in the pub one night opposite, because I used to work for the Guardian, and he was just in there one night.
What do you mean he was in there one night inventing predators? What was he, fucking fashion beer mats?
He had been into the Guardian for an interview and went to the pub with his mate afterwards on the same night that our entire floor went out for a pint. And I met my mate Paul, who came up to me and said, "You're Karl, aren't you? You're a Liverpool fan." We had a chat with him, and he said, "I'll go and get you a pint." I thought, I like this man, and he just came into the other room and said to me, "Craig Johnson's at the bar." I went, "Who's not?" I said, "Look, Craig Johnson is at the bar," and I had more than one big Craig Johnson that night, and I liked him way before that anyway. But that was just like a really nice moment.
Yeah, that's a little cherry.
And it's really, really sad he basically retired or left Liverpool because it was unwell, and he just wants to go and look after her. So it's just a nice man.
Yeah, he still had loads to give when he retired. And I'm delighted for him that he had that success with the Predator football boots, because that was, Christ alive, that was some sort of epoch defining football boot. It was really caught the imagination. So I hope he made an absolute squillion dollars out of that.
Yeah. He also, and I do like this. I'd also say for Vegard Hegem, but I couldn't begin to tell you why. Just liked him.
You just liked him.
Yeah.
We don't need any more than that. Who was the lad? Eric Meyer was the mad German lad, wasn't he?
Yeah,
who
he is,
turned up in the away cop several times.
Yeah, a man of some thirst.
Yeah, there you go. For that alone, fair play to Eric Meyer. What about Guy Drinkel? You have obviously a slightly different era to us. Who is jumping out at you as your low-key hero of that time?
Everyone's expecting me to say Albi Moreno, and that is obviously the answer, but I have a couple others. I have start with Joe Allen, which is self-explanatory. The memes, he looks like Jesus and had a chicken. What do you need?
Yes.
What do you need? My other one is Ryan Babel.
I love this. Yes. Explain the Babel thing to me. Is it because of the Babel copter?
It kind of is, but he was good on FIFA.
He was good on
FIFA. But I always liked him, and I think he should have been better than he was, obviously, because he went down as a flop when we were buying the next Henry again. But big moments, saying the Arsenal scream. Was it Arsenal in the Champions League screamer? The United goal game, tearing Madrid a new arsehole as well. I just always liked him, and I feel like probably one of Rafa had a few failings, but I think probably one of his main one not getting the best out of him, because if he did reach his potential like we saw on occasion, we probably would have won the league, unfortunately.
I think that lad had so much potential. And actually, I think he did really well when he left us, unless I'm very much mistaken. I think he went... What's that?
He's still playing.
I know he's still playing, but I think he did really well in the immediate aftermath. So, I mean...
And then he came back to Fulham with pink hair, and it was funny.
Yeah, that was funny. Yeah, and hang on. So let me pull apart this Joe Allen thing a bit more, because I'm loving both of these picks, I have to say. So Joe Allen, yes, the long hair, the beard, that wasn't a joke, was it? He actually was on the cover of that Chicken Weekly magazine. Country Living or something like that, was it? Yeah. Oh, fantastic! Yeah. Oh, I prefer if it was called Chicken Weekly, but Country Living will do. So that was a real thing, and you do remember, don't you, the video footage of his arrival when he was signing and all that, and Breno was at his absolute peak. Breno, he was basically the same shape and attitude as David Brent back in that early time when he first signed, when he was first Liverpool boss, 2012, and he was calling him the Welsh Xavi. You remember that? Yeah.
He's the bravest footballer he's ever seen, he said as well.
The bravest footballer, the greatest technician, and so on and so forth. He had all his Brendanisms.
He's not the bravest footballer in the world.
I mean, I always liked Alan because he'd get on the ball, and he was. I think
I wish he played more under Klopp. Is probably my one thing, because that Europa League year, not beyond that year, because I think we obviously moved on to Chan, Henderson, and who the hell played midfield? Well, was it? It was Lallana, wasn't it? Yeah. Oh, and we had Wijnaldum, of course. Yeah, we kind of moved on from Alan in Klopp's first full year, but I think in the Europa League run, if we played Chan, Alan, and I think it was Milner playing with him, I think we would have been a better team. So I think we could have got the Europa League if not just by playing Joe Allen, but I think him being in midfield rather than Chan running for two people probably would have worked better.
You know, that is still one of the biggest disappointments of my time watching Liverpool is that night, that UEFA
Emre
Cup.
Can's another answer for this. Sorry, Trev. I should have said Emre Can.
God almighty.
Yeah, I love it. Just to annoy Karl.
Oh, sweet Jesus.
I love Emre Can.
Oh,
how can you not like Emre Can?
Shit.
Yeah, but you just...
He's not shit,
He
Karl.
was good.
He was really good.
You're doing this usual thing that you two do. Just he's a handsome lad, and therefore he had impeccable hair. And I was there when he scored the overhead kick, but Jesus Christ, he was average.
Nah.
No, I can't have it. I can't have it.
Oh,
he was inconsistent at times, but he did play a season injured for us.
You're saying he's inconsistent and you don't like Adam Lallana?
Well, shut up.
Listen, hero choice is a fickle thing, and as a result, our low key hero choice is a fickle thing. I'll side with you on this, Karl, by saying that sadly he was far too low key. Was Emre Can? He should have been a lot better for us. But
I think if he stayed, he would have developed better than going to Juve and Dortmund, who basically everyone goes there to die now, seemingly.
It seems to be the way.
Yeah.
It seems the elephant graveyard of football clubs at the moment. But I think this is. I'm loving this list almost as much as I'm loving the last list. Lisa Marie, wrap it up for us with
Before I leave the WhatsApp group.
With your low. You know who there's got to be someone you can pick to just wind Karl up here, please.
Yeah, there's one.
There's got to be
say
one.
Risa.
Please say it's Naby Keita. Please say
yes.
Who is your low key?
Well, I've sort of mentioned it before. I've always had a soft spot for Andrew Robertson, for varying reasons. And Adam Lallana, obviously.
Boo.
Well, Trev knows this story. When we went and saw the preseason game in, 2018, against United, and my daughter fixated on his name, on Lallana's name. I mean, she just sort of fixated, and she would say it like Lallana, and so it just kind of became a thing. And then after he left, the season that he left us, and everything went to the dogs, she kind of noticed, she's like, Liverpool's not doing very well this season. Is it because Lallana's no longer there? And it sort of became a running joke. So anyway, so that's just a little aside. And low key, I also like Kelleher. I think, there's just something about him that I enjoy watching. And, of course, we haven't seen him at all so far this season. But, I never forget when he came into that first Champions League game when Alisson was out, and it was like, oh, please, just please let it be okay. And, that he did great, and he's done well for us every time he's played since. So I kind of have a soft spot for him as well.
He's a great shout. Queeve's a great. Hang on. Did you just say great hair?
Yeah.
And but Emre Can's hair is not. Oh my God.
Oh yeah, Emre Can was created by action men people.
Is he just? Was it just that he was just too good looking? Was he just too good looking for you, Karl? Is that what the problem is?
Trev, my hero's Ray Kennedy. Come on.
Yeah.
So you can level that one at me.
Yeah.
The hair.
Yeah. The hair thing is clearly sticking in your craw. I think Queeve Kelleher is a fantastic shout, Lisa Marie, I have to say, because he has been comparatively low key, and yet talk about rising to the occasion every time. Love that kid. Love him.
Yeah.
I really, really hope we hang on to him and he proves to be the natural successor. But whether we can keep him while Allison is brilliant for another 11
years.
Years.
That's the thing. Allison could be brilliant for at least, 5 more years? And
at least, I hope. Yeah. At least.
So, maybe, Steve goes off and plays somewhere else and then comes back to us.
Yeah, well, we've got quite a few in that category, Pteracuda and so on, who are looking like real prospects. So I think we're doing well there. If you have tuned in for football content, that's your lot. Oh, I did want to say, just because, credit where it's due, I had not seen the Jan Mulby goal, which was posted during the week on Twitter. It was against Southampton in 1985. I honest to God, somehow had managed to come through in my life as a Liverpool supporter and podcaster and all the rest of it without seeing this goal. And it's just one of the most wonderful things I've ever seen. The absolute audacity of it. It is some great work by Spackman. He plays a beautiful ball into Kenny, who tries a shot, and it breaks to the edge of the box, just the edge of the D. And Jan's coming in from the corner of the edge of the D on the left side. And as the ball breaks from that Kenny effort, I want to talk you through this. I make no apologies for this. This is absolutely ridiculous. So the ball's hit, it's come out. There are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 players in the goalkeeper. Jan steps onto that ball as it's coming towards him, hits it first time with the inside of his foot, passing it into the corner of the net. It's one of the most outrageous goals I think I've ever seen, and I can't wait to talk to the lad about it. No, sorry, he takes a touch, which makes it even better, to set himself, and then deliberately side foots it in the base of the far post. One of the most outrageous goals I've ever seen. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it again on my Twitter for us to talk about as part of what we're going to do next week, because we still will have bugger all Liverpool to talk about. So next week we're going to talk about favourite goals of our era. It's going to be one of our topics. So I'm just floating this one out here now, so everyone can hear about it. Go and look at it, and you'll know what we're talking about when we're talking about it. And the others can be thinking about theirs in advance of next week's show.
He doesn't even celebrate.
He just jogs off, lad. It's the 80s.
You want to talk about low-key hero? That was kind of the definition right there.
Oh, yeah. But it's the 80s. You ruffle a lad's head. That's it. Your little hair ruffle, maybe slapping it back, maybe smile in their general direction. That's the 80s. Tremendous. I don't care how old-fashioned it sounds, but I think somehow I almost prefer that. Anyway. We're going into the non-Liverpool section of the pod, he said, having started the pod with the non-Liverpool section. However, I do have some very specific questions for you. And by the way, if you were one of the ones who did respond, one of the very few people who did respond to my request on Twitter, I don't know what sort of apathy has crept in on Twitter these days, but people just do not seem to connect in the same way as they used to with these type of tweets. I used to get 75 weird questions. I got about 6 or 7. One of them from Jerry. No, mate, I'm not going to be asking your question, Jerry. If you're listening, fair play, lad.
Jerry's responsible for one of my favourite tweets of all time, when he claimed that he bought a laminator to put menus together for his kids' meal. do you follow Jerry, Trev?
Oh God, yeah. That's why he's piped up with that. That's why he's piped up with that hygiene question.
Yes.
And of course, it's wonderful. I have screen captured shot all of those questions, including Jerry's, for posterity, and they will be used in next week's show, where we will have 2 big asks between now and then for listeners' questions, and it will be a show of entirely listeners' questions and that favourite goal topic. So now you've been warned. I do have 2 or 3 of my own that I want to get through in the time that we've left. And I see it's approaching the 50-minute mark. This should be perfect. First one. As we all know, we've got a year or 2 left before the whole arse falls out of our contemporary existence. It may well just be, a hellscape. It may be some other sort of enforced horror, but who knows? It's coming. And when it does, I think there'll probably be zombies involved. And in this coming zombie apocalypse, which, like I say,
Cammy's gone again. I'm just texting Cam. Hang on.
It's inevitable.
he's back with the zombies again. No, he's leaving the Moonlands alone for this week. Yeah.
Oh, lad, I have a T-shirt for you next week. You are going to love it. Yo, you're gonna love it. I've been saving it up for the next show you're on. Speaking about moon landings, so in the coming zombie apocalypse, obviously there will be no power. You have to lock yourself away in your safe room, where hopefully you will have cans of beans and other things that lads seem to always have handy when they're stuck in houses and zombies are nothing about. Fucking jackfruit. Have you had that? Have you?
No, we've discussed it before.
Oh God Almighty! The most disappointing thing I've ever put.
It sounds revolting.
It is just revolting. So, what are you bringing into your zombie bunker to entertain you? Right. It's going to be noisy out there. It's going to be lads trying to eat you. So you got to pull the curtains and ignore the noise. And I want you to tell me what you're going to bring in by way of entertainment. Remember, there's no power, so no FIFA, no
DVDs,
no amp for your electrical guitar, no DVDs, nothing electrical whatsoever. Don't tell me battery power. I don't want to hear it. So, yeah, I know. Don't. I was already going to work on this because I've got one of those, because Karl will know that, of course I do. I've got one of those things which you can wind a handle up on the front and charge anything with. I've got one of those things because of course I do. So I could have cheated and used that, but no. So what I want to do is get an idea from you what you would do old school to entertain yourself for a couple of weeks. What would it be? So for me, it would obviously be books. And I'd have to go no further than the room I'm in. And if I was to sit down and read all the books that I've currently acquired on my shelf, and I actually have read them all, but to read them again would be a wonderful thing. And that would keep me busy for absolutely months on end. And I think it'd be a worthwhile pursuit. So I'm going to be boring and say my books. Guy Drinkel, what are you bringing in with you, lad?
My cheat answer is my Game Boy Advance, because batteries do count, so shut up. But I don't even know. I'm not a big reader, but you'd have to say books. I don't know, maybe catch up on read the actual Game of Thrones book so it's not shit like the series finished.
No, it's a time to educate yourself. There's no need for that.
Yeah, but you want to educate. You're about to die to a zombie.
That's very true, yeah.
So hang on. So
I think those Ray Mears books might finally come to some use.
Nah, I don't think he covered zombies, did he?
No, he didn't, but Bear Grylls did, so we're okay.
Oh, I might as well read that then.
Yeah. So this is fascinating. If you didn't have some form of electronic entertainment, and you're not necessarily that interested in reading, are you telling me, man, that you're just bored for those 6 weeks while we're waiting for the zombies to pass?
I'll just play catch or something. Bring a tennis ball.
King of the cooler job.
Yeah.
Excellent, love it, love it.
We'll do that. We'll do that.
Tennis ball and a baseball mitt, and you're good. Excellent, love it. Lisa Marie, what are you bringing into your zombie bunker?
Well, books also, but also probably the stockpile of yarn that I have here, and crochet a couple blankets.
Oh, very good. Oh, look at this. See, if I had
scarves, hats, whatever.
Nice. I like it. That's both practical and and inventive. I like
If
that.
I wasn't, can I be? How many people are with you in this scenario?
It's just you, man.
Oh, I can't do board games then, because playing Monopoly with yourself would just be. You might as well just kill yourself with zombies.
Yeah. Oh God, yeah. You could probably play chess against yourself, could you? No, you couldn't.
I'm very shit at chess, so.
Yeah, I'm very shit at chess as well. I used to be good, but now I'm shit.
You could have a couple decks of cards and build card houses.
Oh, yes.
Card houses. My God. Lisa Marie straight in from 1979 with the card house.
I play Snap by myself for ages.
Holy shit, card houses. Wow. That's a remarkable thing that you just said. I hadn't thought about in at least 4 decades. Wow, a card house.
Oh, Lego.
I remember...
Legos.
Yeah.
You've got me
Sure,
thinking
Legos.
now.
I mean, we've got enough Legos here to open a store, so yeah.
Well, you see, yeah, or you could probably maybe Meccano was the metal version of Lego. Yeah. You see, if you brought in a Meccano set, you could probably build some sort of A-Team style thing to escape from the zombies.
Sure.
Mega
Blocks, they're just like childish, but they were more dangerous.
Absolutely, I'm loving all this. I've just thought of another thing as well, but I can't. Karl, what are you bringing in to your zombie bunker, my friend?
I'll probably bring in "And What Do You Do?" and "Falling Without Landing" by Karl Coppack novel.
Oh, for the love of God!
Wow, Jesus Christ! Jesus Christ!
And the good thing about those, they are actually
Cam. He's done it again, Cam.
They're very reasonable, very reasonably priced online.
Cam, I know, mate. I tried to ask him to not do because what do you want me to do, Cam? He keeps fucking doing it. Sorry, go ahead, Karl.
They're incredibly good. The answer would be my Epiphone acoustic guitar.
Of course it would. Thank you. I'm glad you did that. I should have brought my guitar in as well. I don't know what I was thinking. And I could actually learn how to play the frickin' thing.
I was gonna say, do you know how to play the guitar, Trev?
Oh yeah, I've had a guitar for like 30 years. I'm just not very good.
You're just missing one crucial element of it.
What, the ability to play it?
What's that?
The ability to play it, yeah.
How very fucking dare you? I can play 3 chords in the truth.
And it, A, D, and E, man.
He can strum it thoughtfully, and yeah.
I'm not bad at the strumming. Yeah.
I can knock out a cracking Oasis intro.
Yes, I'm absolutely sure you can.
No, to be fair, I did stick with it for a while, and then I just got. I'm not a good student. If I'm not immediately good at something,
says the teacher.
It's the teacher, yeah.
No. I've got total self-awareness, man. I'm a shit student. You should have been the person who was trying to teach me how to drive. It must have been fucking hellish. It must have been hellish for them because I couldn't do it immediately. It took me 3 whole lessons to learn how to drive on my own. I swear to God, I'm so impatient. I have to get something immediately or else I just get angry with the world. So yeah, no, that guitar almost ended up wrapped around several sets of shelves. So yeah, I like it. The Epiphone. Can you explain something to me, Karl? Your photograph, which you sent to us in our WhatsApp thread, which seems to have not 1, not 2, but 3 acoustic guitars. Yeah. And we also know that you have a very lovely electric guitar as well.
Yes.
What the fuck's going on there, lad? What's going on there?
If you want to know what's happened to the other 2 guitars, the Burns guitar is in a case at the moment because it's a bit fragile. And I lent my friend Matt my other Fender acoustic, so we're down to just 5 guitars in the house at the moment.
Just 5.
Good.
Just the 5.
So help me understand. 5 guitars, and to you, it has never been more than a hobby, right? Have you ever mucked about with a band?
Yeah. I was in a band in the 90s. Yeah. Don't ask.
Oh, you did?
Yeah. Played the rock.
And would you get together with other like-minded individuals on occasion now and jam?
No, but I played my friend. In fact, just to sort of pour a bit of light on what happened last night, me and Guy were having a chat about films, because me and my friend Matt were talking about, what's the worst film of all time. We talked about The Room, etc. I thought I should bring Drinkel in on this. He seems to be the man who's got a lot of time on his hands when it comes to this sort of thing. And so we were talking about that, and we had a little bit of a jam last night. Played a few Blur songs, very pleasant. But yeah, I was in a band in the mid-90s.
As was I, my friend. As was I. But less said about both of our bands.
I was going to say, wasn't everybody in a band in the mid-90s?
Hey. Were you?
No, but I used to go watch. I used to go watch the, Friends in the band in the mid-90s. So yeah.
There you go.
I was the groupie.
There you go. My band did all of 3 gigs. And 2 of them were on the college campus, and one of them was
how many were on the college campus?
The two in the JCR in Trinity, and the other one was in the Barge pub on the way out to Rathmines in Dublin, and it was a marvelous night. I can remember nothing about it because it was the only way I could get myself on stage was to be fucking Balubas. So
I sung Rammstein on Guitar Hero World Tour, if that counts.
What Rammstein track was
it Du Hast, I think it was? Is that a song? Nice. Is that a song? Yeah. We'll go with Du Hast. That sounds right.
That sounds familiar.
My German was
I have
spectacular.
I can just imagine you giving it socks. Actually, yeah. It's quite an aggressive tune if this is the one I'm thinking of. So yeah, I would pay quite a lot of money to see that.
Yeah. What was your
I have one.
So that again, Karl. Sorry.
What was your role in the band, Trev? You were vocals, guitar. Clearly not guitar, obviously.
Fucking arsehole. No, wasn't Yeah, I was pretending to be a singer. Okay. I was pretending to be a singer. It was I was young and I needed the money.
And one final question on this: stage outfit, please.
Oh, I had very standard. I had very standard outfit back in those days. Mid-90s, remember? Mid-90s.
I was say mid-90s. Yeah. I could peg it right now. I bet.
You could, except I did. This is pre me going a little bit Seattle in my attire.
That's where I was going.
I was going Seattle too.
Yeah.
No. When I did go Seattle, I went full Seattle. I did actually at one stage wear one plaid shirt with another one with the sleeves cut off over it. Yeah, I wasn't fucking about. When I went for it, I went for it. I did have spectacular hair back then as well. Can we just have a minute of silence for my hair? Thanks. So I have one question to follow to finish with, and this is bound to get your imagination flowing. I've got a choice of 3 things here. I wanted to know either your favorite sweets, or your favorite chocolate bar, or your favorite dessert. So which one are we going to go with? I'll take the most insistent answer here. Which one are we going to talk about? We don't have time to talk about all 3.
I'd go dessert.
Which one do we want to talk about? Favorite sweets? Okay.
Yeah.
Karl has called it. So it's favorite dessert it is. So I am going to go out on a limb here and say that for me, this goes back to childhood. My mom used to make a ridiculously good lemon meringue pie. And that is a wonder in and of itself. And there's something about lemon curd that just makes me very happy.
Yeah.
I don't know what it is. Everything lemon is great, but lemon meringue pie, wow, that's especially if the topping's done right. That's a wonder for me. So I'm going to start the ball rolling there, and we are going to take it around the houses. Lisa Marie, what about you? What are you going to go with?
It kind of depends, because like my favorite summer dessert is key lime pie. I just love a key lime pie during the summer. But in the winter, it would probably be like something chocolatey. And that cake that I made a few weeks ago that I think I sent you the picture, Trev, that maybe my new favorite. It was chocolate cake, and it had like this peanut butter mousse in between the layers and then this chocolate ganache over the top. And it was fantastic. So that's my new favorite.
Yeah, there was a lot going on in that cake. There's a lot going on.
And here's the thing. A lot of times when I make the desserts, they don't taste as good to me because, I've made it. Everybody else is like, oh, this is the best thing ever. And I'm just like, eh. But that one, I was like, oh, this is good. This recipe's a keeper. So yeah, anything with peanut butter and chocolate, I'm on board for.
How can you go wrong? How can you go wrong? Although, do you know what? I think maybe there's a little bit of a red herring here, where maybe we're aiming for something that's the fanciest. I don't know. We're pitching it quite high here, because in the middle of my conversation with you there, Lisa Marie, I had a flashback to being a kid and having stewed apples and custard. And I may never have been happier in my entire life than when I was eating that as a kid. So these basic things are quite good. What about yourself, Guy? What's a good dessert for you, man?
This is going to sound proper basic bitch, and it is. Don't get that wrong. I love a Mr. Whippy ice cream, because in the town over from me, which is like 2 minutes away, there's an ice cream shop called Pasito's, and I think this is our local dish, because Teesside's got the Parmesan, or the Parma, but Redcar's got lemon top ice cream, which is just lemon meringue. I just love their ice cream with sprinkles and just sauce and shit like that. That's just like perfect. So basically,
is it like a bowl of ice cream? Like a bowl of ice cream or a cone, or what is it?
Depends how fat you're feeling. But you can get either, really. But yeah, I think it's mainly tubs. It's mainly tubs. You can get small, medium, okay, large. Yeah. But Mr. Whippy ice cream, it's just
love ice cream.
The best. Living at the seaside as well, it's like they're the memories.
You see, Mr. Whippy to me is that kind of ice cream cone ice cream, which has got that softer texture.
The soft serve.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you would put sprinkles on that as well, right?
Oh God, extra sugar on sugar. Can't go wrong.
We see. I don't know. This is going to go over your head. But when I was a nipper, back in the 1940s, they used to have this stuff that they were trying to sell in Ireland all the time, that would go with ice cream, and it would come in tubs, and you'd squeeze it out the nozzle, and it was all these different flavors. One of them was a chocolate, and it would actually, because the ice cream was cold, it would harden on the ice cream surface. And I'll tell you what, lads, to an unrefined childish palate, that was glorious. I can't remember what it was called, though.
There's something similar over here. And yes, when you get that, and there's some of the, there's places, the Dairy Queen or whatever, where you get that soft serve vanilla ice cream, and then, they dip it in the hard chocolate, or the chocolate, and it hardens.
There you go.
That is perfection.
Yeah, kind of hard to beat that, except we do have one choice left, and that's Karl Coppack's favorite dessert. What is it, man?
It is apricot crumble with very hot custard.
Oh yes, this is sounding good. Like apricot crumble.
I really like an apricot. I really do. And it's got to be very very hot apricot crumble with cold custard, so it hisses.
Oh, and is this a thing you're associating? No, you're not.
I think it's a school thing, to be honest.
Oh, this is not like your ma's recipe or something?
No, not at all. No, I think it might be a school thing. Like my first primary school. But I think that might have been a thing there. But that was it. I do like a crumble.
I do like an apple crumble, man. So,
I also really, really like custard.
Yeah.
Far too
So what's the difference between like a crumble and like a cobbler?
I think they're the same, but
okay.
American.
But I didn't know.
We just don't. We don't have cobblers over here. They make shoes. Yeah. That's it. If I'm speaking out of turn again, Jesus Christ, I'm going to be inundated with people tweeting me saying you're a fucking knob. Wait till I tell you why you're wrong now. Here's the next reason you're wrong. But I don't think cobbler's just not a thing I've ever heard over here. It does happen a lot.
It may be a southern thing. It could be a southern thing, but yeah. Because
Yeah.
Southern American South, Southern thing.
So describe. If you let's settle this.
I've got a picture. It is just a crumble.
Yeah, it is.
It's just a crumble.
Okay,
Yeah,
I was going to say let's settle this by investigation.
Yeah, I mean, I do a peach cobbler, and it is you just you do the flour and the sugar and and you cook the peaches down and you just dump it all in together and you throw it in the oven and bake it, and then you serve it with
But what do you
vanilla ice cream?
Yeah, what do you vanilla ice cream? Okay, yeah, good. We used to have vanilla ice cream with apple tart.
Cream. Yeah, whipped cream too. So yeah.
Whipped cream. Do you guys not do custard over there?
We don't really do custard, no.
You're missing out.
Well, I've had custard. And
custard is one of the. It is one of the key food groups. I think you'll find. You should probably rectify.
Custard in winter is like top-notch stuff.
Your country would be much improved if it took this lesson from us.
I think we've solved the world's ills tonight.
Yeah,
Get some custard into the States. Everything's fucking grand. Everything's going to
be much invigorated with the introduction of custard.
Oh my.
Sentences you never thought you'd say.
I'm glad we did this show.
Have
we raised your spirits, Trev?
Immensely, because my calves are still shouting at me, but at least I've had a laugh, and that's all that matters. I've had my fun, and that's all that matters. We should wrap it up. This was 70 minutes AIP, courtesy of Lisa Marie Hanahan, of Guy Drinkel, of Karl Coppack, and myself, Trev Downey. And we will be back with you to do it all again next week, and I will be asking you for contributions, so please do answer this time. Use shower. Talk to you soon.
We hope you enjoyed listening to this Anfield Index show. Please be sure to subscribe to our channel so future podcasts find their way to your device automatically. There's nothing quite like fan engagement, and we'd love to know what you think of anything discussed on this show. The best way to get in touch is over on our free Discord community, where both podcasters and listeners debate the hottest LFC topics 24/7. Sign up free now at AnfieldIndex.com/Discord. You won't regret it. You can also follow us on Twitter at Anfield Index and find us on Facebook by searching for Anfield Index. Oh, and before you go, we'd love it if you could leave us a 5-star review on your favourite podcast app. It only takes a couple of seconds, and it means the world to the people who create these free shows.